Now it's time for my weekly Feng Shui, astrology, and auspicious timing tip. But today I'm going to do something a little bit different. This is the first time I'm going to be doing this. Today I have my guest, Lisa SAFRAN of Improv Consultants, and we're going to do the tip together today.
I love it.
Yeah, I know.
It's an improv.
Yeah. So we'll see how this all goes. So go ahead. Do you have any questions for me?
I absolutely have questions for you. So I think the first thing I really want to know is, can you explain a little bit more about this idea of energy flow?
Absolutely. So, I could go on forever about that one concept in particular, but everyone kind of feels energy. And sometimes people talk about how ethereal, Feng Shui is and astrology, but truthfully, everyone knows when they walk into a space and it feels good. Now, I always warn people, it's not about the beauty of a space. Now that will help you feel good, but you can definitely walk into a room that you hadn't been in previously, and you know that something like an argument had happened. You just know it viscerally that something has happened.
Something bad.
Something bad has happened. Conversely, you can also walk into a very happy space and you can feel like, wow, it really feels buoyant in here. And then how do we actually capture that? So that's some of the things that we address in Feng Shui, not about, clearing the energy of the bad and only bringing in the good, but energy flow really happens by really what comes to your front door. And we really want to allow that to happen by leaving your entryway unobstructed and finding a good path to get to the front door. And then once it gets to the front door, allow it to come in and capitalize on that. Now, you really want to look at, where that energy is flowing to, and again, where it's going to be good and bad. I have time and time again, I'll walk into somebody's office and they'll say, just something doesn't feel right. Just something doesn't feel right. And I will literally move their computer screen 3 degrees. And all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh.
Different feel.
Yeah, totally different feel.
I love how you were talking about this idea of an obstruction, and that it's sort of like an opening and creating that opening. And it's very much parallel to the improv world, right? Of like when you put out an idea, how to receive that idea in a way that's not blocking. So exactly. I love the parallel. Now, you actually helped me with my office. And one of the things that you talked about was directions.
Right.
And facing my desk in a particular direction because of abundance, putting a collaborative area in a particular direction. Can you share a little bit more about the directionals?
Sure. I actually did a couple of different layers on your office. So there's this concept of long-term Feng Shui, which when we're looking at either leasing a place or renting, buying, whatever the case may be, you always look at the long-term Feng Shui because
you're locked in a lease.
You're locked in a lease. And so there is this misconception of, there's some really good energy. For example, we're in the fire monkey year right now in the southeast. So I can put my desk there. Well, all well and good, but is it going to be good for 2017 in the fire rooster year? So going back to, you always want to get the energy map, if you will, and that's a little bit more complicated than I can exactly explain on air in just a few minutes, but you always want to find out where the most vibrant long-term energies are in a space. And then, so that's layer one.
Okay.
That will help you go, okay, this is a good space for me. And then with that, we actually, in your particular space, we put your admin assistant in one of those long-term areas. Now, for you, that very first year that we worked with you, we ended up putting you in not only a long-term good direction, we put you in an annual good direction. And then I interfaced a third piece, which was I took your astrology chart and I ended up getting your personal power directions. So this is based on your gender, your year of birth, and then you have 4 really good directions and then 4 that are a little bit challenging. So a lot of times when I go into someone's office, I will, for a quick fix, is to put their computer screen or their desk, if it's not a built-in. My desk, for example, is on wheels, so I can move it very easily, as well as my computer screen. But just moving the direction of an object, a large object, it becomes an antenna, a receptor of chi or energy that will receive by your body being in the location.
Like you're a conduit, a conduit?
Exactly.
Oh, it's so interesting.
Exactly. It's an antenna. So you are directionally putting your body in a certain direction of whatever needs to happen to bring that good energy to you. So that's really what it's doing is in your particular case, like I said, I was using location long term, location short term, as well as your personal power directions.
Well, it made a huge difference. I mean, I think I shared with you and earlier on the show, I mean, that year my income went up significantly. And then this last time that I went to your class, I then changed my desk, although kept my assistant in her place because that's the long term.
Right.
And already this year I've had an increase as well. So,
Wonderful.
I mean, it's been amazing.
Wonderful.
So I love it, and I can't wait for your next class.
Yeah. Well, actually, you were talking about my annual talk.
But that helps.
Yeah.
That totally helps me.
Totally. Because at the annual talk, I actually talk about how that specific year, which last year you went to, or it was actually earlier this year.
Right.
I know time flies, right?
Yeah.
It was the annual, fire monkey, and how that reflected in your chart, as well as you got the feng shui dial of the annual that you superimposed over your floor plan, and then that's where you were able to make those educated changes because you knew exactly where to go.
Right, because I learned from you that it's different every year.
That's right. So if you're interested in that annual talk, you can go to bit.ly/2017 annual talk. So we're at the end here. Lisa, thank you so much for your time today. I look forward to seeing you next time on Illuminating Feng Shui. And until next week, may good chi follow.